Well, as the dean indicated, there's been a fierce give and take between the biggest opposition party, the NDC, and the Electoral Commission over whether or not to allow agents to actually monitor and observe the ongoing voter transfer exercise. Now, the NDC has raised some serious concerns about an earlier directive by the Electoral Commission to actually ban agents from being present during the voter transfer exercise. And the NDC raises two key issues. One is about suspicion. They suspect that the Electoral Commission are colluding with the NPP to rig the elections. We've had the former president, John Dramani Mahama, actually raise the same issues in a statement that he issued, which was yesterday. We've also heard Codeo, who says that the NDC or the political parties are actually being pampered and that the political parties should be thanking the Electoral Commission for even allowing them in the first place to observe the process. They don't have any right to observe the process. It's not actually barred by law. That's what Codeo is saying. He thinks that this is an issue that ought to be handled or dealt with through consensus building, through dialogue, and not using grandstanding. Anyway, let's do this. Let's take a look at this. The NDC holding a press conference, the MVP actually holding a press conference, and what the Electoral Commission has to say. Let's watch this video, and when we come back, I will be talking to Musa Dankwa, who is the Executive Director of Global Info Analytics. Actually done polls that says that there are 4 key constituencies which the NPP must be very worried of, because these constituencies might just flip to the NDC. And we ask, could that actually be the reason why the suspected case of gerrymandering is happening? I'm not saying it is, but suspected case of gerrymandering, as the NDC is alleged, is happening. So Musa Dankwa will tell us about gerrymandering and whether it works. And then also, you'd also see we've also been told about, in fact, today in Yendi, there have been instances where some polling agents have actually been battered for wanting to observe the proceedings and for wanting to call certain people to order. So all of this is coming up. Watch this.
The Emergency Inter-Party Advisory Committee meeting was organized after the Commission's attention was drawn to the violent clashes that occurred at some district offices as a result of the ongoing transfer of vote exercise. The EC further released a statement asking regional directors to ask district officers not to allow agents of political parties to observe the transfer of votes exercise effective Monday, June 3, 2024. Speaking to journalists after an emergency IPAC sitting, Chairman of Election Committee of the New Patriotic Party NPP, Peter McMahon, says his party is willing to abide by the directive of the EC.
Under the CI, voter registration, political parties are allowed to bring agents. But under the law, transfer of votes, no room is made for agents. It was IPAC itself that decided last week or so that in the interest of transparency, we should allow party agents to observe the process. For us, as a party, NPP, we think that coming events cast their shadows. So what has transpired was not a good thing, and that the EC, in their wisdom and with the authority vested in them under the Constitution, decided that we should withdraw the agents. We abide by it. We will abide by it in the interest of peace and tranquility in our electoral process.
But Director of Elections and IT for the NDC, Dr. Omani Boama, condemned the Electoral Commission's action, saying it is unlawful.
The NDC, as our General Secretary has put out, we will not withdraw our agents from the transfer centers. What is it that they are up to? What is it that they are hiding? And what is it that the EC, per this decision, either deliberately or inadvertently, aiding the NPP to achieve? So, the EC, we've asked them to prioritize their further deliberation and get back to us. As it stands now, the NDC is very clear. We are clear in our mind by the statement from our General Secretary that our agents should continue to observe.
The national coordinator of the Coalition of Domestic Election Observers, Codeo, Albert Ain, backs the EC's call to restrict agents from observing the process.
I, in the first place, wouldn't even want
agents to be around when transfers are being made. Because the law does not even back it. You can't defend it anywhere because the law is against it. It is not written anywhere that when transfers are being made, parties should be represented. If it's going to continue, definitely it's going to be chaotic. Don't be there, I'm going to be there. Don't be there, I'm going to be there. Then it's going to be chaotic. So, the best thing for maybe the other party to do is to also withdraw.
Sorry, welcome back. We've just set the tone for what promises to be a very interesting conversation this afternoon on Good Afternoon Ghana. We'll also be going to Yendi shortly because there's some breaking news there. We're told that the acting managing director of Sankara Radio, who was there as an observer, has actually been brutally assaulted by a police officer, allegedly. We'll be speaking to him shortly. We'll be speaking to our correspondent in that constituency, Alhassan Diba, about to bring us an update on that. But whilst let me just say that joining me in the studio is the NDC's deputy director of elections, also in charge of IT, the man we'll call Dr. Rashid Tanko Computer. Very, very popular man indeed. He's joined us in the studio. Good afternoon, sir. Thank you very much for joining us.
Good afternoon.
It's a pleasure.
It's a pleasure also being here.
Thank you. First of all, I think congratulations are in order. This is the first time we're talking to you since your appointment as a Deputy Director of Elections.
Very well, very well.
Right.
In your program, I
right.
mean, your other sister programs have
You've been on some other platforms. Yes. Okay, that's fine. Let me also say that Adib Sani will be talking to us. Adib Sani is a security analyst. Now, Adib Sani is not happy with the suspicions that these political parties or the NDC has with the Electoral Commission. That the Electoral Commission must do something about it. He'll tell us why he thinks that it's something to be really worried about. Let me also say that Musa Dankwa is the executive director of Global Info Analytics. He's done some work, actually, and very, very fascinating, very revealing work on some constituencies that he says the MPP is at the cusp of losing those constituencies to the NDC. Very interesting findings as well. He'll tell us. And of course, there's a very obvious question to ask him is if that explains why the allegations of gerrymandering, as we've heard, going around some parts of the country. So I'll start with Dr. Rashid Tanko. Whilst at it, we're trying to work through to get to Alhassan Diba because this is breaking news. We need to speak to Alhassan Diba about it briefly before we start. But whilst working at it, let me start with Dr. Rashid Tanko. Is Musa Dankwa on? Good afternoon, sir. He's not on yet. All right. Adib Sani is also not on yet. Okay, we'll get him on. Doc, it's good to have you once again. And but first of all, before you go ahead with the submission on this matter, help us understand what is the mandate of the NDC Selection Directorate. What's your mandate?
We are in charge of both internal and external management of the party elections.
Okay.
When it comes to internal, I'm talking about our constituency, branches, regional and national elections. That is when we are to elect our officers, we are in charge of that. We are also in charge of membership drive to take care of the data of the members of the party and all that. And then the external elections, that is the one conducted by the Electoral Commission. Right. I mean, so we are more or less the interface between the party and then the Electoral Commission and our opponent that will be contesting with. So we are in charge of all the strategies, the plans for the electoral fortunes of the party. And so that is our mandate, and it's grounded in Article 38 of the party constitution of the National Election Directorate. If you check the party constitution, Article 38, it is very clear, the formation of the directorate. As we speak now, we have our director, Dr. Mane Boama, and he's ably supported by 4 deputies, myself, Madi Jibril. We are for elections, and then we have 2 competent hands too for IT, Yaira Koku and Dr. Tabote. Okay. I mean, so that's how the
so there's 5 of you at the moment.
5, and then we have members. We have other members, 11 members, who support the 5 directors. Right. Now, these 11 members are key activists of the party who are down to earth, who understand the nuances of the workings of the party and all that. A person like Dr. Valerie Sawyer, a very astute lawyer, I'm sure you know her, Dr. Valerie Sawyer.
Yes,
She's a member of the directorate.
Yes, I know her.
Yes. She's a member of the directorate. We have Kwagwenu, the former National Service boss, who is now the director of special duties for the party. He's also a member. Peter Otukono is there. We have Beatrice Annan, the young lawyer.
Right.
She's a member. So,
The directorate.
Yes, in the directorate. So we have key members.
It looks like it's a very packed directorate.
It's a packed directorate.
Even though there are frontliners, which is yourself, Yaira,
Yaira,
the likes of Dr. Madibu.
There
are a lot more others.
There are a lot more others who are working behind the scene.
Okay, but why do you need such a large number, actually?
It's a directorate.
Okay.
We have the directorates and we have directors.
Right.
Okay, so we are the directors.
Okay.
And then we have the directorate. And so it's like a whole department. Okay, so you see us at the forefront fighting, but these directorate members are behind the scene working and feeding us all the necessary information that we need. So the general public should not be surprised the gains the NDC is making in terms of its electoral fortunes towards the 2024 elections, because we have a very powerful team that is working up to the task and then know what they are about. And our mandate is properly carved out to make sure that we get His Excellency John Dramani Mahama elected come December 7th. And that is what our eyes are on. We are focused on that. We are not distracted with any other activities.
Okay.
I mean, our mandate is to focus on the electoral fortunes.
Okay.
And then so you hardly will see us in any other activities of the party apart from elections and elections activities. That is what we do.
Let's quickly do this. Now that I understand the work of the election directorate of the NDC, I'm going to come back to you. One of the things I want to find out whether indeed you are part of your mandate is also to make sure that you attend IPAC meetings, because I see Dr. Madibu Ama. In fact, in that video, I saw the two of you in there. So I'll come back to you on that. But let me quickly do this. As I told you, there's some breaking news where I understand that there's been some chaos in the ND following an attack on the acting general manager of Sankara Radio in Yendi. Let's quickly speak to Alhassan Dibaba, who actually filed that report to us. Alhassan, good afternoon. Assalamu alaikum. How are you?
Walaikum salam, Modu.
Wonderful. Now, tell us what happened in Yendi.
Well, good afternoon to you, and good afternoon to our viewers, and good afternoon to my big brother, Mr. Computer, in the studio.
Oh, I didn't know the two of you were related.
Oh, he's a brother.
Don't mind me. I was just messing with you. Please go ahead. Yes.
All right. Yesterday in the afternoon, that was somewhere 3 p.m. The acting manager for Sankara Radio went to the registration center in Yendi to supervise the exercise for onwards reporting to his channel. But an unfortunate incident happened at the place, because according to the information he gave out to me, he said when he reached the place, he reported himself to the police, and they were still talking when he heard boys from the MP's camp shouting that, this is the Sharan, we have to chase him away. And he turned and asked them why they had wanted to chase him away, and they said they don't want to see him there because he is an Abibata boy. That's according to him, and for that matter, he should leave the place. They don't want to see any of them at that place. So he said he was not going anywhere because he wasn't there for any Abibata activities, but to cover or to monitor the transfer exercise. And one of the guys, one sub-chief in Yendi called Zugena, called him and told him to leave the place because Yendi politics was a very complex thing, and he shouldn't be, he should go, even though they have no right to ask him to leave the place. But for the way the situation was developing, he should leave the place. So he sat on his motorbike with one of his reporters to leave the place when one of the guys, named Baki, according to him, used a sharp object and cut his neck behind him. And there was blood and people rushed in, and according to him, even his own colleagues were blaming him. I mean, the Baki who cut him with a sharp object, his colleagues were blaming him. Why should he act so fast like that? Because he shouldn't have done that, because there was nothing like a scaffold between them. Why should he do that? But that was what happened. And according to him, the issue has been reported to the Ghana Police Service in Yendi, and they said they are going to arrest the guy to face the full rigors of the law. And he also reported the incident to the Ghana Journalists Association in the Northern Region, and it has also been reported to the national president of the Ghana Journalists Association. So that is what is happening in Yendi. And what I am disappointed in is the fact that this issue or this exercise has nothing to do with journalists. If I say it has nothing to do with journalists, journalists don't really have any problem with the exercise. We only go in there, monitor what happens, and report to the general public. But I was shocked to hear that somebody attacked a journalist for this purpose. So what we are hearing or what we are seeing is the fact that it is as though the beef between the the MP's camp and the Ajabibate's camp is what is still going on in Yendi. And that is very, very unfortunate, and something like that shouldn't be happening. So many journalists in the Northern Region are calling on the Ghana Police Service and the authorities to ensure that this matter is prosecuted to the last end, because people do this and at the end of the day they apologize and things goes off. For that matter, people are not deterred from doing such things. So they are calling on the Ghana Police Service and other state authorities to ensure that this issue is pushed up to the logical conclusion. But another issue is the fact that I was told, people on the ground, even though I was not at the ground, other journalists on the ground informed me that another NDC officer was also injured, and he's currently at the Yendi Government Hospital receiving treatment. And people are not really interested in it because it's a political thing. It was a scuffle between the NPP and the NDC in the Yendi constituency, where the man was injured by the NPP supporters. But people are not interested in it, but they are asking, why should a neutral person, somebody like a journalist, go into the ground and he will be attacked unprovoked? So that is what is happening in the Northern Region. And many people are also calling that people should not tag the MP's name to this incident, because the MP, according to the information I am picking, is not happy for what happened. And he is saying, according to the information I am picking, he is saying he is not happy for what happened, and for that matter, the issue should be dealt with.
Well, that's quite interesting. And you tell us that Sankara, this man we're talking about, has actually lodged a complaint to the police?
Yes, he has done that. I spoke to him today, some few hours ago. I spoke with him, and he told me that he has reported the case to the Ghana Police Service. In fact, they even arranged that the guy was going to be arrested this afternoon. But I had some conversations with people closer to the guy, and the guy as well. And he is telling me that he never did that, even though he asked the guy to leave the premises because he didn't want anything to happen and people will say they have attacked a journalist. For that matter, he asked the guy to leave the place because they didn't want to have anything to do with the guy at the premises, but he didn't attack him. That's according to the guy, that he never attacked Sharan, the acting general manager of Sankara Radio. He only asked him to leave the place. But the question many people are asking is the fact that the guy is not only alleging, he is bringing up evidence. If you look at his neck, there's a big wound on the neck. And if you look at his shirt, it's like the whole shirt is being stained by blood. So if somebody says the guy was not attacked, it will be very unfortunate, and it wouldn't make any sense, because the guy is not only alleging, he is coming out with evidence that shows that he was really attacked. And people on the ground, people who were also at the scene, told me that the guy was really attacked by that same or those people, even though they didn't mention a specific name to me, but they confirmed to me that the guy was attacked at the premises. When they asked him to leave and he was leaving, he was attacked.
I see. We were under the impression that the sort of acrimony that transpired between Habib Ashani Mahama and Farouk Aliyu Mahama had been resolved. But if you're telling us that what has just happened is only a symptom of a bigger problem, these are fallouts from the internal primaries of Yendi, then it tells you that there are still some problems there to deal with. But anyway, thank you very much for that report, Alhassan Dibaba. Thank you.
Right.
Alhassan Dibaba is our correspondent in the Northern Region, telling us about something that happened in the yesterday, yesterday afternoon, around 3 p.m., where the acting general manager of Sankara Radio, who had gone there to observe, was attacked unprovoked. He still doesn't know what his crime is. And so it all has to do with this voter transfer issue that we're discussing with Musa, if I'm discussing with my guest. So let me come back to Dr. Rashid Tanko. But I don't know what you make of this. I mean, these, key pieces of chaos that we keep recording in some parts of the country, with this voter transfer exercises. I mean, what's happening?
Has strengthened our position against the Electoral Commission ill-timed memo they issued on the 2nd of June.
Okay.
Clearly, he was trying to say violence, because of violence that happened in some few constituencies. That is why they were trying to ban the party agents from going there. But you see what happened there. It was not the party agents that caused the violence. It's remnant fanatics of the party who are causing this violence at the registration and transfer centers. Why is the security agents not able to deal with them? There's no way you have any of this violence happening and agents are involved. So it was far-fetched for the Electoral Commission to even think that it is the agents who are the cause of all this violence. It is rather the fanatics of the party, followers of these MPs and ministers of states or DCs and other things, who are causing all these mayhems at the centers. Why is the security agents not able to deal with such characters?
I see. Well, finally, the Electoral Commission has heard you. And the Electoral Commission has actually issued a statement, and it says it will not allow your agents to be there to monitor the process. Let's read what the Electoral Commission's reasons for allowing you or for reversing this decision is. Josiah, if the statement is ready, can we read it to the attention of the public? So it says transfer of votes, observance by political party agents. This was released yesterday, 4th June 2024. It says on Sunday, 2nd June 2024, the Electoral Commission issued a directive to its regional directorate that, in view of the clashes occurring some of the district officers, the regional director should inform district officers to discontinue the observation of the transfer of votes exercised by agents of political parties effective Monday, 3rd June 2024. The Commission has taken note of reactions of some stakeholders regarding the above directive and wishes to address the general public as follows. Now, this continues. It says, the general public must understand that the law does not grant any right or authority whatsoever to an observer of any of our electoral processes to interfere with our work. Per law, observers are to take a record of any issue that may have and deal with it through available legal or administrative processes. This is the same system that governs the voters' registration exercise, in that observers cannot prevent any applicant from being registered as a voter. They can, however, challenge the registration of the applicant through the challenge process embedded in the law by applying to the District Registration Review Committees, that's the DRRC, set up in all the districts to review the challenge cases for the voter registration exercise. 5. Similarly, where political party agents as observers have any issue with the transfer of votes of any particular voter, the lawful thing to do is to use the window of the voters exhibition exercise to object to a voter's name on the voter's register on the ground that the applicant is not resident or ordinarily resident in the area where he or she intends to vote. That's according to Regulations 23(2)(c) of the Public Elections Registration of Voters Regulations 2016 CI 91. 6. The exercise to transfer votes is governed by Regulations 22 of the Public Elections Regulations 2020 CI 127. Regulation 22 does not provide political party agents or any other observers. Now, Dr. Rashid, now I need you to pay attention to this. It says it does not, please go back to 7. Please go back to 7. I need Dr. Rashid, I want to emphasize this. It says, similarly, the political party agents as observers the general public must understand that the law does not grant any right or authority whatsoever to an observer of any of our electoral processes to interfere with our work. Per law, observers are to take a record of any issue they may have and deal with it through available legal or administrative processes. This is the same system that governs the voters' registration exercise, in that observers cannot prevent any applicant from being registered as a voter. They can, however, challenge the registration of the applicant through the challenge process embedded in the law by applying to District Regulations or Registration Review Committee, the DRRC, set up in all districts to review the challenge cases for the voter registration exercise. 5. Similarly, where political party agents or observers have any issue with the transfer of vote of any particular voter, the lawful thing to do is to use the window of the voters' exhibition exercise to object to a voter's name on the voters' register on the grounds that the applicant is not resident or ordinarily resident in the area where he or she intends to vote. That's according to Regulations 23, and it states that. Now, it says the exercise to transfer vote is governed by Regulation 22 of the Public Elections Regulations 2020, CI 127. Regulations 22 does not provide political party agents or any other observers with the right to prevent voters who apply to transfer their votes under the law. The Commission would like to repeat, political party agents do not have any right or authority under the law to prevent a voter who, let's go to 7 now. Yes, let's go to 7. It says, oh, sorry, I think we skipped 7 and 8. But let's go at number 9. We strongly urge the agents of political, sorry about that. Yes. We strongly urge the agents of political parties to abide by the rules and refrain from any form of interference which could lead to violence, as witnessed over the last few days. 10. We urge the leaders of the political parties to educate their agents on the Commission's laws prior to assigning them duties on observers of the various electoral activities. Now, 11. The Commission will not hesitate to request the withdrawal of agents who disrupt the transfer processes. We emphasize that the directive to withdraw any agents from the transfer exercise. Okay, so I guess that we have just brought you the salient portions of the statement. Now, I have to do this, Doc. I'll beg of you because we need to talk to Musa Dankwa quickly, and then I can continue my conversation with you. Musa Dankwa, good afternoon. Salamu alaikum to you too. Thank you very much for joining us. Okay, Musa Dankwa is not on it, unfortunately. So let's do this. Now, you're talking to me as you're saying that when you look at the violence that's happened in the different parts of this country, it goes to emphasize the point you've made that the problem is not caused by the agents per se, and that who is the cause of the problem?
My brother, you see, I want us to look at their statement.
The statement, okay.
This Electoral Commission, they are very economical with the truth.
Okay.
In fact, they should have run us through the process leading to the 29th May meeting.
Yes.
You know, we had an IPAC meeting on 29th May after the registration exercise to review the registration exercise and now to look at transfers and proxies.
Okay.
Now we look at the law, the CI 127,
okay,
where they quoted in their press statement,
yes,
about transfers. The law is silent about whether we can deploy party agents or we cannot deploy party agents. There's nothing like that.
I see.
The law is very, very silent about it.
If
you look at the enabling regulation 22, 1 to 8, where it talks about transfer, it has not mentioned anything about party agents.
I see.
It has not also barred party agents from monitoring the process.
Hang on with this. I beg of you. I beg of you. Just hang on with this. Musa Dankwa, good afternoon. Thanks for joining us. And assalamu alaikum to you too.
Good afternoon, Moro.
Good to have you on the show, Musa.
Good to be here.
Good. Now, there's a lot of talk about gerrymandering. The NDC has accused the NPP of, in fact, the NDC has accused the Electoral Commission of colluding with the NPP to engage in gerrymandering. I pose that. What is your understanding of what gerrymandering is, and is it feasible? Does it work?
Right. Thank you very much for having me. Yes, under normal circumstances, gerrymandering works. Where you think that you have a little disadvantage or a little advantage, and you want to cushion yourself against the next election. Sometimes it is done officially. I mean, through redemarcation of constituencies and stuff like that. So yes, that can happen. We have the situation, for example, in SAL, where SAL was carved out of Hohoi to create a constituency that we didn't vote in the last election. So yes, it can be done officially, and also it can be done through machinations of parliamentary candidates who think that they are under threat or they see opportunity to snatch a seat, and then they may be encouraged to move people from neighboring constituency or far areas where they have very good margin into areas where they think they can use that number to snatch the seat or to defend their seat.
Now, when it comes to voter transfer, which is the case in issue, how does gerrymandering happen? Now, whether it works or not is another matter, but how does gerrymandering happen when it comes to voter transfer exercises?
Here, you're not tampering with the geography of the location.
Okay.
You are just moving, or asking people who, for example, live in the nearby constituency to say that they live in the constituency that you are targeting. And that by so doing, if they live there by law, they are allowed to vote there. The issue is that we don't have evidence to disprove otherwise or prove otherwise that they don't live there. So it's difficult to really enforce this law. It depends on just hearsay, or we don't think he lives here, and so on and so forth, for it to be enforced. So that's why it has to be done to the challenge form and for you to provide evidence. And I think when it gets to that level, you may be asked to go and show your home, your abode, place of abode. If you can't show it, then definitely you may not live there. But it's very difficult at the moment under the current dispensation.
So,
in terms of whether it works or not.
All right. So let's try and be as practical as we can, just briefly. So, if you take a constituency like, say, the Medina constituency, it shares a border, invisible border, with Ayawaso West, likes of East Legon and so on, Ashalibotre and so on. You're saying that if I'm an MP in, say, Medina, and I want to say John Dumelo is the parliamentary candidate for the NDC in Ayawaso West, Oregon. So Francis Xavier also says, look, I have more than enough voters. I have excess. Because in Medina, the NDC typically votes this number of people, or this number of people who turn out to vote for the NDC. So I can dash you 10,000 Ghana cedis, 10,000 voters to shore up the numbers that you have in Ayawaso West. And so I'll speak to some of my guys so I can bus them to East Legon for them to go and register there. So then they become voters in East Legon, which is part of Ayawaso West, in order to help John Dumelo to cross the line. Have I explained this in more practical terms?
Absolutely, you have.
Okay.
Yes,
so, but does it work? I mean, if Francis Xavier Sosu gives John Dumelo 10,000 voters, because John Dumelo recognizes that he only needs 500 or say 1,000 or 5,000 voters to be able to cross and beat Seriam Lydia Al-Hassan. If Francis gives John Dumelo that 10,000 voters, is there guarantee that the 10,000 voters would necessarily vote for John Dumelo to win?
There are practical issues here. First and foremost, does Sosu himself knows whether he still has that 10,000 margin?
I see.
That's the first task. You must first assess whether you still have that margin. You might think you have 10,000, but that 10,000 may not even exist anymore. You could just 4,000. So if you give somebody a loan of 5,000 people, you could be exposing yourself to a defeat in your own constituency that you think you were strong at. And then secondly, you may think that, Dumelo needs just 2,000. Is that 2,000 still 2,000? You see, the best way to do this calculation is not through the previous election, but using the current polling numbers. What are the polls saying in both Medina and Ayawaso West Oregon? And if you extrapolate that polling number to the electoral mathematics, they could well calculate the margin that you need to borrow or you need to lend. But the question is, the race in Medina and Ayawaso Oregon is not settled. We don't even know how many people are going as NDC, MPP, Independent, Butterfly, Cheddar. So your mathematics that you are currently using to calculate the margin could be a mirage. So some of them, I think they are ill-informed about how it works, and they think they can move numbers enough to turn the numbers. But if you look at the number of people that you can even bring to constituency, you are limited. And then again, if you bus people from one area to the other, these people are not necessarily card-bearing members of your party. They are general voters. They are influenceable by the economic condition. They can change their mind. You cannot guarantee that when you send them to Ayawaso West, they will vote for you. There's no guarantee.
So when, for instance, that's my final question to you, but well, maybe penultimate. When the NDC, for instance, complains and it says, look, we have intercepted a document where a document that shows or reveals the NPP's plans to engage in gerrymandering, and they talk about Obuasi East, Obuasi West, Echumwa, they talk about Ejura Seche, Dumase, Kwabre East, Ifija Seche East, Tafo. It gives a tall list of these constituencies that the NPP intends to basically sort out, in order to give them a comfortable lead in those constituencies, because they want to hold on to those constituencies. In fact, there are some of these constituencies which the NDC has held on to for some time now. I don't know whether you've seen the list, but does this list come across to you as a list that anybody who is thinking of doing this or engaging in this exercise can succeed?
I think some of them are working on the basis that the margin was what they had in 2020 elections. And let me tell you for a fact, for the numbers we have seen, the numbers have changed dramatically. So the basis on which they are doing this calculation may not even exist.
I see.
So, well, they may try it, but I mean, look, it's going to be tough for a lot of them.
Can the NDC go to sleep and not bother so much? Because like you said, this gerrymandering thing doesn't work. And that whoever is orchestrating it or initiating it might end up actually shooting themselves in the foot.
No, they can't go to sleep because by law, it is not lawful. And if we are law-abiding citizens, we must prevent some of these things. So they can't go to sleep to allow that to happen.
So the issue is not whether it works or not, but it's an illegal exercise. That's the point you're making. It's
an illegal exercise. That's the bottom line of it. So if anybody has the right to stop it, it must be stopped according to the law. But when they have succeeded in doing that, would that fundamentally alter the outcome of the election? From where we stand at the moment, no. Because you don't have the rest completely settled. Okay. You don't know how many people are contesting in all these seats. If there are people competing against NDC candidates, that could change those numbers dramatically. Okay. If there are butterfly candidates or cheddar candidates competing in areas where MPP thought they had 2,000, that number could now become 7,000. So you don't really know because we don't have the race settled.
Finally, and if you can just put this in, just summarize this and just in not more than 5 minutes. You have an opinion poll, and it ties in with this because if I got this kind of research, I'll be thinking about where to get the numbers from to shore things up. Now, there's an opinion poll which you have conducted, and you've carried out in selected constituencies in the Greater Accra region, and that reveals the extent of the challenge facing the governing party in what should have been its strongholds, and in the region, in the region, 6 months before the general elections. So we're talking about Kaikwe Central, or Kaikwe South, Anyasu, Tuum, and Trobo, where the NPP won by an average of 62% in the 2020 elections. Now shows the leading opposition candidate, John Mahama, leading in the polls with 40.5%, and that the current vice president and flag bearer of the governing NPP, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, is on 36%. Nana Kwame Bediako, which is the new force, has 1.8%. Alachire Manting, Movement for Change, with 1.7%. There's 10.4% of voters say they will not vote, and 9.4% are undecided. Tell us a bit about this, about these polls, just briefly.
Right. These are the polls we conducted in the deep blue constituencies in the Greater Accra region.
Okay.
Where MPP wins comfortably. If you look at the numbers coming from that place, it's showing not a very good kind of polling situation for the MPP. Now, if you look at the parliamentary numbers, for example, Okaikwe Central, Patrick Boama is ahead 50%, and Baba Sadiq on 36%, with 6% said they will not vote. Now, if you come to Okaikwe South, it's neck and neck. The incumbent MP is on 40%, and then the NDC is on 39%. 10% will not vote. And then you come to Tuum, MPP leads 42%, NDC 32%, and then 14% will not vote. And then lastly, in Trobo, MPP on 45%, and NDC 37%. Now, if you want to use this as an example for what might be going on. In the Okankwe Central, where MPP has the best chance, in Greater Accra to snag the seat quite easily, Patrick Boama attracts 74% of people who voted for him in 2024. It means that the margin that we thought he had actually has shrunk by almost 26%. So it tells you the scale of the problem that some of these people will have. Even though overall he is winning the seat, it shows that he is quite down compared to 2020. So, and we don't know actually whether these people will be the only candidates or there will be more candidates coming in that area. So these are the complications that MPP or people who are trying to do gerrymandering has to think of. The numbers are quite fluid, and really it's tough. You can't move people of this number to be able to win the seat if you just rely on gerrymandering.
Wow.
You need to rely on people being happy with you as an MP, being happy with the government, and willing to vote for you. If you move them from A to B and they are unhappy, they will go there and vote because they are unhappy.
I see. Musa, thank you. Thank you very much for your time. All right,
Yes,
so it's 0244-262-314. That's the WhatsApp line. Join this conversation. 0244-262-314. We'll take a short break. When I come back, I'm going to continue my conversation with Dr. Rashid Tanko, computer. All right, welcome back. We're having a conversation about the back and forth between the NDC and the Electoral Commission for voter transfer exercises. I did indicate the issue is about whether or not to allow agents to be there to monitor the exercise. The Electoral Commission has actually done a detour. They've done a U-turn. They've actually beaten a retreat. They're saying that, well, you can now, get your agents to monitor the exercise. That's what we are now. Dr. Musa Rashid Tanko, computers, we popularly call him, he's with me here in the studio to explain some of the issues. You're saying that you find some of the things that is being contained in that statement very erroneous. You're saying they're wrong?
Very, very erroneous.
Okay.
Look, they are economical with the truth. We pointed out this thing to them during the IPAC meeting.
Oh, you did?
We did.
Okay.
We mentioned, I'll give you an example.
Okay.
They quoted Regulation 23,
yes,
2C
yes,
of CI 91.
yes.
They wrongly quoted it in their statement.
Okay.
Just to fool and then confuse the public.
Okay.
This is what the regulation states.
What does it say?
It's talking about exhibition.
Yes.
It's under exhibition.
Yes.
Regulation 23 is about exhibition.
Right.
And 2C is talking about how to object
to
somebody naming the register.
Yes.
Now listen to the text 2C.
Uh-huh.
A person entitled to be registered as a voter may object as set out in the Form 7 of the schedule. Okay, if you look at the regulation, there's a Form 7 of the schedule.
Right.
To a person whose name appears in the provisional register of the voters.
Right.
On the grounds that the person is not, is not qualified to be registered as a voter. That is what the C talks about. So you are objecting to the person on the grounds that the person is not qualified to be registered.
Yes.
What are the qualifications? 18 years and above. Be a Ghanaian.
Yes.
Be of sound mind.
Yes.
Be resident or ordinary resident in an area.
Okay.
These are the qualifications. It has nothing to do with transfers.
Oh, so that law is in reference to exhibition.
Exhibition. That you can object to somebody's name. They've just finished registration.
And you're saying that that all is not applicable,
it's not applicable
to voter transfer.
You cannot object to anybody.
So hold on a second. If you find out that somebody is actually transferring their votes from one point to the other.
Yes, and it appears in the register.
And it appears in the register.
You cannot do anything again. It is gone.
Really?
That is it. That's why we say there's a lacuna in the law. And that's why
you cannot go join the exhibition exercise to say that this guy doesn't live here.
No, you can't.
Or this guy has no business being in the register.
It's a transfer. The law here is talking about being grounds of registration.
Okay.
And the grounds of registration is that you must be a Ghanaian.
Right.
18 years. Of
ordinary resident or ordinary resident. Yes.
Let's qualify you to be registered.
Yes.
Now, I've already been registered.
Yes.
I'm now doing my transfer. Are you getting it? So if I'm transferring, there is a lacuna in the law. And the lacuna is such that there should have been a challenge form. Like how there's a challenge during the registration.
Yes.
But there's no challenge form here. So you can't challenge anybody even transfer. The only challenge you have is to prevent the person.
I see.
It is the returning officer who has the power to say you are not qualified based on this article. That you don't reside in this constituency. You have not resided in that constituency for 12 months. The qualification here is
how is the returning officer able to tell?
That is the question. That is why we are saying that we will not allow this one to go because this electoral commission has not showed enough fit that we can fold our arms and sit in the house and allow them because they say they have independence. That's why on the 29th of May, when we met at IPAC, we closed that lacuna by agreeing that all our agents should be at the point of the transfer.
But Doctor,
observe that.
Okay.
And then MPP didn't object.
Right.
CPP, Kodeo, I'm surprised Kodeo is speaking this way. I don't know where he got the law from. Was he quoting from a different...
He said the Electoral Commission has been too kind to you.
He's saying that he himself doesn't even understand the rules of the game as of now. I'm surprised.
A former director of elections?
That is what I'm saying. Because
the Electoral Commission?
The law he's quoting, I don't know which law he's quoting. CI 127, where he decided to talk about the transfer of votes, has nothing to do with party agents. Hasn't debarred party agents and also hasn't accepted party agents.
Okay, so it was something that was collectively agreed on at IPAC.
That is it, for transparency.
So your point is, if there's going to be a reversal of that decision, you must go back to IPAC.
Beautiful. Now, you gave us a letter on Friday that we should come for an emergency meeting on 3rd, which is Monday.
Yes.
Whilst we're preparing ourselves, on Sunday evening, you issue a memo to your directors across the country that they should stop party agents from participating in
the EC hasn't shown utmost good faith.
They didn't show, they showed bad faith.
Bad faith.
That is why we also issue a statement by asking that our agents should disregard the statement of the EC.
Because as far as you're concerned...
Yes, because so long as we're concerned, if you want to vary the decision at IPAC, come back to IPAC again. Let's discuss it there.
Oh, that's why you're saying you smell a rat?
Yes, that's why we smell a rat. Because why do you vary a decision that we took together collectively with Jean Mensa presiding? And when they were signing the memo, do you know the one who signed it? Tete signed the memo, and that's why Madam Jean Mensa refused to attend the Monday IPAC, because it was embarrassing. It wasn't not embarrassing to her.
Do you get a sense that perhaps Jean Mensa wasn't even in the know?
That is why I'm saying that it was embarrassing, because when we met on Monday...
You exposed some of these...
We exposed it and told them point blank that the reason why we defied their order is that they showed bad faith. And that even the grounds on which they were issuing the statement was faulty. You used Kaswa as a base for that. Was it the one who was stabbed? Was he stabbed by the party agent? It wasn't the party agent who stabbed him.
That's true.
It was remnants of fanatics who just decided to beat each other up and hack each other. You don't use that one to equate this.
Yeah, but there's a big but, and the big but has come about. I've heard Dr. Kwaku Sribo, who is the director of Electoral Services, saying that even though the parties have now been allowed, even though the parties have now been allowed to assign their agents to monitor the exercise, they will do two things. First of all, they would make sure that none of you is able to protest against somebody who you believe is not qualified to be on the register. Two, if anybody tries to do that, the person will be whisked away, the person will be arrested. I don't know how you're going to handle this.
I'm saying that, you see, these are the kind of unlawful orders they give out there, and you have...
You mean this was not agreed at IPAC?
We didn't agree on that. There was nothing like that. That's what I'm saying. They do this kind of thing, and overzealous police officers will go and be quoting the law or interpreting the law as if they are the bona fide properties of the laws. You know what is going on? All the mess that we are having is caused by the security service. This Yendi episode, you have read it, your reporter just said, it's caused by the police.
Yes.
The same issue happened at Tano North. An overzealous Bobno rank police officer used handcuff to hit a lady head. So all this mess that we are having is placed at the doorstep of these party police people they've recruited who are giving us all this hell.
Party police?
Of course, these are party boys.
Oh, come on, these are...
It's a fact.
These are people who have been regularly recruited into the police service. They applied, they filled a form, they were interviewed, they wrote exams. You're saying they are party people?
2017 up to now, there has never been adverse for recruitment into any of these services. Do you hear what they have been saying? That they have a database they have always been getting the names from. The Interior Minister mentioned it recently.
They have a database.
That they have a database, a backlog of people who apply long since. And so they always, when they want to do, they'll go inside and pick some names and continue the process.
Yeah, this is what they have been doing. Henry Quarter said that.
He said it recently. It's publicly. And when the minority even raised issue about this 30-30 being given to this.
So I'm
saying about it.
All right, so I just spoke to Musa Danquah. One of the things he said was, yes, it's illegal for anybody to do voter transfer by transferring people from adjoining constituencies and so on. However, there's no cause for worry. Even if somebody does any kind of gerrymandering, it will not work.
Look, gerrymandering...
Does it work?
Inure to the benefit of parliamentary democracy.
Yes.
It inures to the benefit of showing up your numbers in parliament. Mm-hmm. It does not affect presidential polls.
Okay.
Gerrymandering.
Okay.
You know, it was carved by one of the former vice president of the United States, Thomas Jerry.
Yes.
You see, this one is particularly meant to gerrymander the electoral boundaries of parliamentary seats.
So that what?
So that they can show up their number. Because MPP have realized that they've lost the presidential election. So now they are targeting parliament.
Oh, so increase the numbers.
Oh, increase the numbers.
You
see, like what we are doing there, we have 137, they have 137.
Yes.
It's the independent which is separating us.
Yes.
So the moment there is a distortion on one other side, there's going to be a slip.
True.
Okay, now they realize that this election we are going, our flag bearer, Bawumia, he can't even cross 40%. Why not all go and fight for parliamentary seats? Make sure that we do some manner of gerrymandering and we can get numbers. Even if John Mahama wins, he won't have control of parliament.
Even that's what the MPP wants to do.
That is the intelligence we pick, and that is why they are doing this kind. And they want to use the Electoral Commission to do that kind of thing. So if you look at the Sunday memo, it was practically meant to help them in this process so that we won't have our agents there and they can have their own. Because imagine the kind of persons the recruiters are returning officers. You know, we have issues with that.
Yes, you've mentioned that too.
We raise issues
about
their appointment.
People.
They are party apparatchiks who have been put in there. So you want such people to come and do transfer for us.
Dr. Rashid Tanko, computer, has been my guest. I also want to say a big thanks to Musa Danquah, the Executive Director of Global Info Analytics. This has been Good Afternoon Ghana. Unfortunately, we couldn't speak to Adib Sani. Perhaps we'll talk to him on News Night, 7 p.m. tonight. Watch us. Bye-bye.